Today we have here with us Jennifer from Poplarville, Mississippi. Jennifer, for those that don't know much about your story, why don't you give us a little background on what's going on?
My name's Jennifer. I am from Kenner, Louisiana. I moved to Poplarville when I was 9, and I'm going to come out about my story and where it began.
Okay. All right. So you went. Are you from Poplarville?
No.
Okay. Where exactly did you grow up? Tell us a little bit about that.
So I grew up in Poplarville, but I moved out here when I was 9. So from born to 9 years old, I lived in the church. My dad wanted to be a preacher, and all we knew was God and church, and we didn't trick or treat. We didn't watch scary movies. It was just all about God. We lived at the church. So I was a very innocent child and didn't know the dark that was in the world. And then I moved to Poplarville. And my dad and mom stopped going to church. And so I would go to church with my grandparents here in town. Had a bunch of friends there. And for whatever reason, my grandma was really close with this family that was at the church. And their son had just got out of jail. And so he was doing like community service, I think it was. And so he was coming to my grandma's house, like help her around the house or whatever, handyman basically. And she didn't want him to stay with her because he was 21, and she just didn't feel comfortable with a 21-year-old staying with her. So he lived with us. Instead of staying at his parents' house for whatever reason, he lived with us. And that's where the world started. So I don't even know how to explain it. So I was 9. And when you're 9, like, you're super innocent. Like, you don't see how a man is looking at you. You don't catch innuendos. So I didn't see any of that. I was innocent. I was 9. We went to church, like I said. And he would give me and my cousin cigarettes so we could smoke with him at 9. He made you feel wanted, but you didn't realize it. Like, he was, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my God.
Grooming?
Yes, grooming. He was grooming big time. He would sit me on his lap, always catered to me, but he loved my sister. He loved her. She was 1, but it was like his baby, but he catered to me. And I would go to his parents' house with him, me and my cousins. And looking back now, we thought we were going to play with his younger siblings, and it would literally just be him. And so we would hang out in his room, and his parents would be there. So looking back, like, why would you allow a 9-year-old to go in a 21-year-old's room and hang out with a 21 at 9? I don't know. But we did. We did. He would put me on his shoulders. I loved him. I saw him like a brother. And then one day, I remember it clear as day. My mom was in the kitchen. She was cooking gumbo. And he was staying in my brother's room. And I was in there watching Dirty Dancing. It was my favorite movie of all time. And he came in there and laid in the bed next to me. I didn't think nothing of it because he was like a big brother to me. And so we were laying there watching Dirty Dancing. Looking back, I would never allow my child to do that. Not that my parents, they didn't know. You know what I'm saying? They saw it like a son. And so we were laying in the bed watching this movie. And I just remember he looked over to me and he was like, shh. And he took my hand and placed it on his penis. So, 9 years old, I don't know what penises are. I only had a little sister. So she has the same body parts as me. I had an older brother, But I didn't know that there were other body parts. All I knew was vaginas, you know? So I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what he was doing, what it was, nothing. No, I was oblivious. I didn't tell my parents because I thought I would get in trouble because he told me, don't say anything. So I told my cousin, who was, I think she just turned 11, 10 or 11, because she's a year older than me. And I think she said, like, he tried playing house with her or something. She went home in Bay St. Louis, and she called my mom when she got home and told her what he did. And they came to confront me about it.
And how old was she when that happened?
She was like 10, 11, because I was 9 when it happened. So she came to confront me, or no, my mom came to confront me, and like, I just knew I was gonna get my ass handed to me because we grew up in a church, you know. Even though I didn't know what was going on, I just knew I was gonna get in trouble because he told me, like, don't say anything, and here I am telling my cousin. And so they asked me, I told them what happened, and they were pissed. They were pissed. I thought they were mad at me, of course, but they weren't. They were upset at the fact that they couldn't protect me. And they let this man in our home. And so that's where it started. Grow up in a church, you know churches, come to Poplarville, and it started in a church. And we went to the district attorney here in town, and that was the first time I seen him since my parents found out. And the feeling, even at 9, like, I remember it clear as day, walking in that building, and there he was down the hallway, and he just looked at me with, like, shame and guilt and, like, what the fuck did I do? And I was 9, and I was scared. I thought he was going to kill me. I was scared for my life because I didn't know what to think. I then found out, you know, like, what he did was wrong. And then the cops asked me what happened, and they deemed it as, even though he didn't touch me, he made me touch him. Yeah, so he didn't go to jail. My parents ended up, because they did love him. They did. But they, somehow or another, his parents asked if he could do, like, a church community service thing for X amount of years. And, my dad wanted to do some horrible things to him. But he ended up just leaving it to God. And, you know, karma's a bitch.
So that was when you were 9, and how old are you now?
31.
Does this guy still live in Poplarville? Is he still alive?
So to my knowledge, he does. I seen him for the first time when I was 15 from that incident. I was 15 years old, and he has daughters. And I pray to God that he would never do anything to his daughters. But the family history that I've heard with that family, they blamed me. His family did. Whenever the church found out, his mom said that I seduced him, that it was a 9-year-old's fault, and her 21 was innocent. Her 21-year-old son was innocent. It was the 9-year-old's fault, who has no idea what anything is. And all I knew was church, but I seduced him. So that was the end of church for me.
And your parents followed with that?
No, my parents were done with that. My parents were done with church before that because he wanted to be a preacher, and basically a preacher told him he could never be a preacher. And so he was done. Both of them were done with church, but that was all I knew. So I still wanted to go to church with my grandparents, you know. I love church. But after that, it was like, if there is a God, why would he allow a 9-year-old to go through something as traumatic as that? I don't believe that now, obviously. But that ended me trusting church people. That ended me going to church. That ended me ever putting my kids in church. I would never. I will never trust anything to do with the church. I don't care how many stories you have to tell me about church. I would never trust it. So that's where it started.
Okay. Is that the only instance where you were?
No, it was not. The next, basically, incident, I was in high school. I was a sophomore, and I had a teacher. And the teacher was cool. Everybody liked him. I was cool with him. Never had no problems. But one day because back in the day you would put photos in your binders, right? And I had put a photo of me and my friend for Halloween in my binder. And we had tests or whatever, and took my binder up there to get my grade. And he went into his grade book and changed the grade that I had from, I don't know, say like a 70 to a 90. And he looked at me and was like, "Do you think that photo is good enough for that grade?" And I was kind of taken back and dumbfounded, right? Like, are you kidding me? Like, all kinds of kids put photos. And it wasn't even a provocative photo. Like, it wasn't anything that you shouldn't have in your binder in high school. And I was just like, okay. And then I sat back down. Well, I've always been a very flirtatious person, but never to a sense where I would want it to go further. Because I always promised my mom, I'm going to wait until I'm married. I will wait till I'm married. I will lose my virginity when I am married. And that was something that I was very headstrong about. I was known as the whore in Poplarville because I would not put out. And so he would always make innuendos and flirt, and I'm just like, whatever. Yeah, like a teacher's going to get with a student. I would never, And then I remember one day I was in, I don't even know, history or something like that. And I asked my teacher if I can go to the bathroom. And she was like, yeah, that's fine. Went to the bathroom and go to get water from the water fountain. Well, I'm bending over to get water. Everybody was in class. There was nobody in the walkways, nothing. And next thing you know, I hear him. And I kind of like turned my head to look at him. And whenever I did, he came behind me and rubbed his ass and was like, damn. And then kept walking. And I was like, wow. Go back to class and I tell my best friend what happened. And she was like, you've got to be shitting me. I was like, absolutely not. So then, yet again, that person tells my parents. And I didn't tell them because I'm like, nothing really freaking happened,
So who told them?
My best friend.
The best friend told your
Yeah,
parents?
my best friend at the time, she told my parents. Or she told her mom, who told my parents. And they took me out of Poplarville. So here I am, freaking, third grade. I came to Poplarville to my sophomore year. And I had to leave all my friends and go and start new, fresh. My whole life ripped away from me because of one teacher, one person. And so I started a new school in Purvis. It was a Christian school.
What Christian school?
Lamar.
Lamar County?
Lamar Christian.
Lamar Christian.
Hated that place. They treated me like an outsider.
Why do you think?
They told me I was in a dark room naked with a heart of stone. Even though they knew my story. They knew why I was there. I wasn't there because I was a bad kid. I wasn't there because I did drugs and my parents were trying to punish me. I was there because my teacher tried fucking me. And they knew that. So, here I am at this Christian school, but I don't go to church. I don't go to church because that's where the sexual assault happened. But because I don't go to church, and I don't want to read the Bible at this school, and I don't want to sing the Bible songs and all this other stuff that they do, I'm an outcast. And so...
So it basically made you feel like what happened to you made you an outcast.
Yes. 100%. 100%. And so, I had friends there. There was some teachers that I did absolutely love. I did. And there was one teacher, still to this day, I love her to death. And she knew She knew, here's this kid who's broken, but I wear a brave face. I would never show that I'm fucking broken because...
You're not.
Right, why? Why? I'm here. I'm alive. I don't do drugs. I'm good. I'm good. I can handle my own. And she knew. And she made it a point to get me a Bible. And it wasn't even a Bible. It was about, like, life, but in God's way.
Right.
And I've never had somebody do something like that. And so that was nice. So I'm at this school half of my sophomore year to all of my junior year. And in the midst of this, so half my sophomore year, I hated the school. I cursed at a teacher, told her she needed to get off her ass and teach. My parents are paying you $1,000 a month, not for you to sit on Facebook, but to teach me. And she didn't like that. She called me out to class, got the principal involved. And then that's whenever they sat me in the office and was like, you know, you have a heart of stone. You're in a dark room naked. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, excuse me? And so I called my parents immediately. They came up there, explained the situation, like, this isn't a troubled child. This is her story. You knew that from the beginning. You accepted her. You're not going to treat my daughter like shit. My parents have always been my number ones from day one.
So they come in, they bring you back to...
No, they don't. No, I wasn't allowed to go back to Poplarville because the teacher was still there.
Right. Is he still there now?
Oh no,
Okay.
no, no. So after my sophomore year, this guy who I dated before, but he was mainly my best friend because he was a whore. He didn't want to stay exclusive. So we were best friends. I loved him to death. I still love him as who he was. I do. And so he was having his 18th birthday and he invited me. And I took one of my friends with me because I didn't want to go by myself. And so at this point, 15 years old, about to be 16. And I've done foreplay and like things like that, but I've never had sex. I'm still very much so a virgin. Yes, I've done sexual things, but I have never had sex. That's still one thing. I was headstrong. I will remain a virgin until I get married. That's something I will save for the person that I marry. So I go to this birthday party, and everybody there I'm very good friends with. We're cool. Well, I remember like we were all swimming in his pool, having a good time. Well, then everybody's like, let's play hide and go seek. So we're like, yeah, like bet. Let's go do it. It's nighttime. Okay. So, we go to play hide and go seek. And the guy whose birthday party it is, asked me to go hide with him. So I'm like, okay, like this isn't, nothing new. So we go in his dad's barn. And we start making out. And the first time, like I said, I've done sexual things with this person before. We've dated. He was my best friend. And so, things are getting heated. And he asked me to have sex with him. And I told him no. No. I'm not. I'm a virgin. No. I'm waiting until I get married. No. And at first he was like, all right, whatever, and then continued with the foreplay. And then next thing you know, he's taking my pants off. And I told you no, like, I don't want to, don't. And then all I know is my pants are gone. Don't know where they went. Kind of blacked that out, I guess. And then next, we went from this side of the barn to this side of the barn. I don't remember how. Don't know how we got there. But then I remember him telling me, I know you're flexible. And then he put my leg on his shoulder. And this leg was tiptoeing. And then I blacked out. And then whenever I came to, I was on top of him. And like I said, I was a virgin. I don't know anything. So I just remember just sitting there on top of him. And he whispered, yeah, we need to do that again sometime, baby. He didn't wear a condom. I don't know what kind of STDs I have now. I don't know if I'm gonna get pregnant. I don't know if he went. I don't know anything. I just know that promise to my mom, it's gone. And I remember standing up thinking, what the fuck did you just do? Like, your mom warned you about this guy multiple times. And she was fucking right. Nail on the head. And he took away my true innocence. And I couldn't find my pants. He found them. And I put them on. And he looked me dead in my eyes and said, do not walk out with me. So, not only did you take my innocence, but you didn't want to be seen with me. Talk about, I feel like trash. Fucking worthless. In a fucking barn. In a fucking barn. And so, all I could think of was I am wearing khaki fucking shorts. The stories that I have been told, when you lose your virginity, you fucking bleed. You bleed. So I'm like, fuck. So I walked to my fucking car in his fucking field. And I'm like, fuck. It is fucking 9 o'clock at night. I'm ready to go. And so I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom. I have to. So I had to do the walk of shame with all of his guy friends because nobody played hide and go seek. Nobody. They all went inside to play pool. Well, me and him played hide and go seek.
So it was a setup.
Oh, for sure. For sure. They were all inside. And so, I walked inside and they were all like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's my boy, blah, 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 you know, da, blah, blah. And I walked straight to the bathroom. I wiped myself. I didn't bleed. Thank God. There was no blood. I go to get my friend and I'm like, we need to fucking go. And she was like, no, absolutely not. I was like, no, we're fucking leaving. Well, her parents are Pentecostal, and so she had a curfew. But she's a wild child, and she's off the freaking grid. Like, I don't talk to her. But she didn't want to go, and I was like, get in the fucking car now. Like, we're leaving. So we leave the party. I drop her off. I go home. I say nothing. I talk to no one. I tell my cousin, yet again, but I don't tell her in the sense that I got raped, because I didn't know it was. I didn't. I thought when you get raped, you're getting the shit beat out of you, you're forced against your will, you're held down. Lies. Fucking lies. If you say no, no is fucking. No is fucking. No is no. Your body is your fucking temple. And he broke my fucking temple when I did not want him to. I said no. That should be fucking strong enough to let me choose who I want to fuck. And if it's not you, it's not you. So because I was always taught that is getting the shit beat out of you, I was never taught that it's date rape or no means no. I told my cousin, you know, here she was. She wasn't a virgin no more. She was waiting for that to happen to me. And I always said, I'm waiting until marriage. Well, I ended up texting her. You know, we had little codes like Barbie and all these little, so our parents wouldn't know what was going on. And so I texted her the code thinking, you know, well, I mean, it's gone. So I did lose my virginity. Even though I didn't want it, I lost it. So I had to tell her. She was my best friend. I told her everything. So I told her. And, you know, she's like, oh my gosh, shut the hell up. Like, tell me how it went. I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't remember. I can't tell you how it went. And then 2 weeks went by. And I couldn't walk. I couldn't fucking walk. Because my vagina hurt. And I didn't know why. And my best friend came down from Oklahoma to visit. And I told her, I was like, can you please look at my vagina? Like, see if there's something wrong. Like, I can't walk. Like, it physically hurts. Like, I feel like I'm dying. And she did. And she immediately told my dad. So my vagina swelled up like that from trauma. And she had to tell my dad. I had to go to the hospital. They did blood work. Took 12 tubes of blood. Had to have a shot of penicillin in my ass. My mom was pissed at me. She was so mad. I did not even want her in the hospital room because she thought it was Willen. And she warned me about this guy. And it wasn't. But I didn't know how to tell her because I didn't know. I wasn't held down, you know. And so me and my mom didn't talk for like a week or two. And that sucked because that's my best friend. But it triggers back to the first shh. I was too scared. I was too scared to say anything. I didn't tell him about him. I didn't tell him about the teacher. I didn't tell him about the rape because of the first shh. And that's what, it sucks. It sucks how easily somebody could be groomed and brainwashed. But yeah, so.
Happened once your friend told your parents what happened?
So we did the whole hospital thing. And this was 2 weeks after. And that's whenever my family parents found out, and we went to the cops. So we go to the cops, we tell the cops everything that happened. And the cops said it was his word against mine. That there was nothing that they could do. They couldn't take him to jail because it was his word against mine. And in Mississippi, the legal age to have sex is 16, even though I was 15 when it happened. So nothing was done. And that was that. Luckily enough, though, I didn't go to Poplarville. So I wasn't going back to school from summer break to Poplarville to see what everybody had to say about me, the kind of names they had to call me. I was still at Lamar Christian. But I did go to Lamar Christian, dark, very empty, very numb. And one of the teachers noticed and asked me what was wrong. And I told her what happened over the summer. And she prayed for me. And then kind of just went through my junior year numb to the world, numb to everyone. Didn't want to talk to no one, didn't want to have friends. I wasn't really allowed to go to parties anymore because of what happened, even though it wasn't my fault. My parents didn't want that to happen again. And then that Christmas break, my junior year, the teacher who changed my grade over a picture and did the things that he did, got caught with his students. And I don't remember if he went to jail or whatever, but he got caught. And so the teachers and the superintendents finally saw that what my parents told them that he had done was true. It wasn't a lie. I didn't make up some story to get a teacher fired. He got himself fired because he got caught for doing exactly what he did to me. And And so I begged my parents, can I please go back to Poplarville? I just want to graduate with my friends. I want to graduate with people that I grew up with. So they allowed it. They did. I went back. It wasn't easy because I was known as the girl who lost her virginity to this guy and who also screamed that her teacher tried getting with her, and his wife still taught there. And none of that was true. But I still wanted to go. I didn't care what kind of backlash I got. I didn't care if I had friends or not. This is my home. I wanted to graduate where I was at home. I wasn't at home at Lamar Christian. So I did. I went back. I still had like my friends that have been my friends since 5th grade. But there was a lot of name calling, a lot of whispers, a lot of, watching. And his wife, the teacher's wife, was my teacher. And I felt like she treated me differently, because I feel like she thought like maybe I pursued it, even though I didn't. But I don't blame her, because the one student he did get caught with did pursue it, So I guess she assumed all the other people that he had done anything with, which he didn't do anything with me, pursued him. And I ended up dropping her as a teacher and working in the office instead of having her as my teacher. And I graduated from Poplarville, and tried going back to church to get back right with God. And whenever I tried going back to church, that's where I saw the guy who raped me. And then I stopped going back to church. And
Because it's a small town.
Yeah, very, very small town. And so, of course, you go through your college fun stuff. And then 10 years later to the day that I was raped, I got a wave on Facebook. And it was from the guy. And when I tell you my heart fell through my asshole, it did. Because it brought back all of the pain and the trauma and the anxiety and the heart racing that I felt that night that it happened. But I'm the bigger person, so I messaged him. I waved back. Because I'm mature now. I can stand for my own. I can back myself up. I can stand up to the person who took my innocence. I can prove that I'm a survivor. And that's exactly what I did. I played the bigger person, and I messaged him back. And then I asked him, why are you messaging me? Like, what's your reasoning? And he said to ask for your forgiveness. And I told him, I forgave you. I forgive you. I forgave you. I did that a long time ago in order to move on with my life and to not get hooked on drugs and alcohol and to live a depressive life and dwell on the past. And in order to not dwell on the past, I had to forgive you. But being able to say it to his face or through messages was, it was a release. It was nice. He opened up to me about a lot of things and why he wanted my forgiveness, and how he finally came out to his friends and people that were around when that happened that assumed that I wanted it, and told them the truth that he did. And 2 days later, I saw him in person after he asked for my forgiveness. So I feel like that was God's way of letting me face my fears before facing my fears in person.
So, what is it like living in Poplarville now compared to then?
I love Poplarville. I do. I love the small town. I love that everyone knows who you are in a sense. But I don't like the whispers. I don't like the drama. Like, I think it's petty as hell. Back then, it was kind of like whatever, because I didn't really go to town much. I hid. I was in a dark hole. Now, I'm strong. I could give two shits. You don't pay my bills. You don't take care of me. What are you? A whisper behind my back. Friggin' wind blowing. That's all you are to me. I mean, it's not like you could really do anything to me. So now, I mean, I have kids. My kids are here. You know? My kids have played with his kids. Not willingly, but they have. They have. Take that one, you know?
That's how small of a town it is.
That's how small of
hard
a town
to
it is.
escape.
My kids have played with his kids.
At school?
No, at a friend's house. Pulled up to a friend's house and his kids were there.
He was not.
He was not. I think he was in rehab at the time.
Okay. So he's obviously doing quite bad. Or has.
He has. Yeah, he has. He's fought his demons. Could be fighting them. I don't know. I don't dwell on that. But since he has came and apologized to me and asked for my forgiveness, I have seen him a lot more. I've seen him at school functions with his kids.
And how do you handle that, seeing him now, today?
I smile. I smile and then go on about my business. If he was to say hey, I'd say hey. I did. 2 days later, after he asked for my forgiveness, he said hey. And I said hey back.
And that's strength.
100%. Takes a lot. It takes a lot. I'm not going to say my heart didn't race. It does. But.
So today, how are you doing today in life? Where are you at? What do you have going on with your life now?
So, I'll be completely honest. Since all of this has happened in my life, it has triggered severe anxiety. It has triggered gut issues. Depression, when I didn't know that I was depressed because, you know, society tells you depressed is laying in bed all day, you know, blah, 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 whatever. Depression is not wanting to talk to anyone or going out and talking to people, but feeling alone, feeling by yourself. I didn't know that. So I still deal with anxiety. I'm dealing with it. But I have 2 kids. I put a smile on my face. I take them to their extracurricular activities. I am a wife. I do things with my husband. We take family trips. We live day by day. Live whatever day God gives me. It's the only way to be. I'm not going to dwell on the past. I'll tell my story. First time telling it in 16 years. 16 years to tell who Jennifer really is.
Well, Jennifer, I really appreciate you coming in today, and wow. Girl, that is strength. That is strength. And I appreciate that very much for coming in and telling your story. I hope it touches other people.
I hope it does too. It doesn't happen overnight, that's for sure. Don't be scared to tell if you've been raped or assaulted or touched. Tell your parents. Don't let the shh stop you. Because in the end, your parents will always have your back, or your significant other, or your friend. Somebody's always going to have your back. Don't be scared to say anything. That's basically it.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thanks.